We're joined by one of the most powerful guys in all of Congress, the Republican leader in the House, Kevin McCarthy of Bakersfield. Congressman, welcome back to The Issue Is.
Thank you for having me back.
So let's start with that bill, $500 billion. If I'm at home right now, I'm unemployed, I'm frustrated, what's that going to do for me?
Well, if you're unemployed, this is a good bill for you. If you're a small business owner, if you work for a business that has 500 employees or fewer, because what this does, it replenishes our program, the Paycheck Protection Program. We've already loaned 1.6 million businesses, saved 30 million jobs, but that was so popular it ran out of money. And so what the program does is it provides money to small businesses to pay their employees. The money that goes to the business, 75% has to be given to the salaries of the employees, pay your rent, pay your utilities, and that becomes a grant, not a loan. So you may be on unemployment right now because you got laid off from a small business. They could be calling you back with this money. It's a 2-month program. It could help you get through this time period where then we could start our state opening back up and get to work again.
You know, the big fight is, of course, what comes next. What do you want to see specifically in the next stimulus bill? What are you looking for?
Well, the first thing I'm looking for is implement the first 4 bills we put through. Remember, we have passed almost $2.8 trillion that are going into the economy. Compounding that with what the Fed is doing, there's about $7 trillion going into the economy. The most important thing, make sure it's working. When you look at state governments, we have provided $500 billion. Now, put that in perspective. We did that in 1 month. We spend roughly a little more than $600 billion an entire year in Medicare.
So let's talk about something that your Republican colleague in the Senate said this week, suggesting that these are blue state bailouts and suggesting that states should be allowed to file for bankruptcy. Do you agree with that?
Look, the thing I look at, we just provided $500 billion to states. The thing that we want to make sure we do here, because these are hardworking taxpayers' money, that states do not utilize this money to pay maybe for pensions or others, but if there's a concern about when it comes to COVID, that they had to shut down or others, that's a place we should look and work together. And I want to thank the way that President Trump and Governor Newsom has been working together. California has really been an example between the federal government and California. From the vice president, from the very beginning, the governor had texted me about his work with the federal government, with the vice president, with the president. Remember, the president has sent out a Navy ship to L.A. We are prepared. Now, we are fortunate the actions that California's been taking, that we are not looking like New York.
And just to drill it down, would you call this a blue state bailout?
Well, what we did yesterday is not a bailout. Yet what we did yesterday dealt with small business and hospitals. And that was the critical part.
Okay, you mentioned this relationship, this strange bromance between Governor Newsom and President Trump. Who would have ever thought that was happening? One of the many surreal aspects of this. The president says that Governor Newsom is doing a tremendous job. Do you agree with that?
I think he is doing a good job. And that should not be weird. That's how the American public expects us to act and work together. Remember, this COVID virus does not attack one party or the other. It's attacked our entire world. And what I like to see is how the president is acting with our governor and our governor is interacting with our president. What I don't like to see is people criticizing either one of them from a philosophical basis because they're upset that they're working together.
Looking back on it, do you wish that the president used different language towards the beginning of this process when he talked about it's just going to wash over, there may not be any deaths or a few people? I mean, do you wish that 2020 hindsight that wasn't the message?
Let's literally walk through what the facts were. If you talk to Dr. Fauci during that time, Dr. Fauci said it would just be the flu. These are the people who are advising the president. The World Health Organization said it would not even transfer from human to human. But at that same time that the president was hearing and getting all this advice, what did he do on January 31st? He shut the flights down from China coming to America. Against all the other advice. People criticized him. And almost a month later, February 24th, you have Speaker Pelosi telling everybody to gather together in San Francisco and Chinatown. So look at his actions. He took actions that went beyond what those experts were telling the president. Why were those experts saying what they were saying? Because China was lying to the rest of the world. China was influencing the World Health Organization. You know, China's What China did to us, the deception that China did, directly led to Americans dying. This is where people should be upset.
So what do you want the U.S. to do?
I'm actually very proud of the action of
China as a result of that. I mean, what should be the U.S. response? Because that's quite a thing that you just said.
Well, it's the truth. China was deceptive to the rest of the world. China influenced the World Health Organization to lie about it. China allowed 5 million people from Wuhan to go and fly throughout the world and infect all of us. China, at the same time that they control 50% of the supply chain for the personal protection equipment, the masks, the gowns, and others, when they were telling the world that this wasn't causing any problems, went and purchased more. The one thing all of America should wake up to is we should never allow China to control any supply chain again. This is something that President Trump, as candidate Trump, warned us about.
It's something he warned us about for decades before he was even candidate Trump. This is something he's been talking about for a long time. And just to wrap things up on a fun note, because I always like to have a little bit of fun on this show, in this quarantine life era, I know you're probably working nonstop. A lot of people are home. A lot of people are binge watching certain things. What are you doing? What's quarantine life like with you? And is there something in particular you're watching or really into these days?
Well, you know what? I watch a lot of different documentaries. I went into Bill Gates' brain, was one of them recently. I did watch Ozark, the 3rd season. I thought that was really good. So yeah, there's a number of things I continue to watch. So if somebody has advice for me, go ahead, pass it on. All
right, very, very nice. And I know last time we talked about the fact that we're both Dodger fans. We're both rooting for baseball to come back. I know I miss sports so much. And we can't wait because Dodgers have such a good team. If only we can get them on the field.
You know what? They won that World Series. They just don't have the trophy.
Exactly. I'll second that. Congressman, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you taking time. And best of luck to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy during all of this.
Thank you.
Our thanks to Congressman